Hi, my name is Gord. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I converted this 2010 Prius into a tiny camper, and this is sort of part of my build series. I want to talk about this mirror that I installed that has a front-facing camera attached to the mirror, and it has a rear-facing camera. It records continuously, which I think is just good for, if you're going to have a life on the road. This is the kind of stuff that can save you if you're in some kind of accident and you need evidence of something that happened. Um, it's currently off, but if I turn it on, you can see this is what you see with the back-facing camera. It does like a split view, um, and this is what you can see of the front camera. So here's my hand, and then back to the rear camera. You can kind of rotate it up and down depending on the view you want. You could change the brightness. Um, This isn't really going to be a video on the controls. There are other people that do more like review videos, and you can go ahead and look at those if you want to know all the features of this. But what it does is if you have a lot of stuff blocking your view in your build, you can have this camera so that you could still see. Or if you have the kind of van that has no back windows, this allows you to have basically a rear view mirror. But then it also adds that security, like I said, of constantly videotaping. The other thing I did that not a lot of people are doing that might be unique to this video is that I hardwired this to my car. It's not just plugged into the cigarette lighter. I like that because it's cleaner, it's simpler, there's no chance that it can get unplugged. I don't use it for this, but that also opens up the possibility that you can actually use it as like a parking camera. So when you're parked, you can also take video. I think there's some risk with that you might wear down your 12-volt battery, but the hardwire kit that I bought does have sort of turn off protection when the battery gets below a certain voltage. Um, I'm just a bit nervous to use that in a backcountry setting. All right, and then I just want to add that like a lot of the videos I shot when I was building the Prius, I didn't really know what I was doing. The quality of the videos and honestly the quality of the instruction is not my best work to say the least. Um, I decided to edit it together as best that I could in the off chance that a little gem somewhere might be exactly the answer someone was looking for something like this. But feel free to stop watching the video if it's not helping you. If you have any questions of things that I wasn't clear about or anything like that, I can try to do my best to answer in the comments down below. But when it comes to things like the hardwiring, I mean, I don't know every model of car. So unless you have like a 2010 Prius, I probably can't help you. So, without any sort of further ado, let's get into the build process. Okay, so this is it. It is the P12 Pro by Pelsee. I believe the 12 means that the camera itself is 12 inches, and there is a P10 if you want a smaller screen. So I guess this is also going to be an unboxing video. Okay, so here is the mirror itself. Got front-facing camera. Um, it's got a front-facing camera. It's covered by this little plastic right now, and then it has these little grommet hook things that are going to hold it to the mirror. Got our DC cable for the cigarette lighter. Got the camera itself. Nice long cable. And then in this bag as well, it looks like there's some double-sided tape and some screws, depending on how you want to mount it. Get the GPS unit. So mine came with 4 of these little straps that are going to go hold this on the mirror. The second set of double-sided tape and screws. Oh, cool. 32 gigabyte micro SD card. I did not know it was going to come with that. Tricks trying to sell you warranties, little microfiber tile, and I'm guessing this is like a little stuffing tool to get their wires with the headliner or whatever you want to do, and the instructions. So that's everything that's in the box, or at least everything that was in my box. My guess is, I think these are extras. Probably isn't supposed to come like 2 sets of these, but I suppose we will find out. Okay, so I didn't really like how bulky it looked, just strapped onto the existing mirror. And I also didn't really like that this way of powering it means that you only have power when the car is on. I felt like for security purposes and also if I'm sleeping in the car, it might be useful to have access to exterior views of the car when the car is not on. So we're going to do two things that are different than other videos I've seen. One, we're going to install an actual mounting bracket. So the rubber band stuff is going to come off. And two, we're going to use one of these hardwire connectors that kind of taps. I don't know if you can see this. I'll put links to this in the description. It basically taps into your fuses, so you can find a live fuse. The fuse is still there. Um, the fuse is still there, but you have power when the car is not on. And this one actually has a voltage meter. I'll show you when I get it on. It has a voltage meter with some protection to make sure that obviously you're not draining your battery. Okay, so I pulled the mirror out of my car. You can just kind of see how bulky this is when it's all connected in, and I'm just not a fan of that. So I got this permanent mounting bracket. It comes with this, and the main things you need is that this is 13.5 by 5.9 centimeters. I was able to find this one both by measuring from the exact center of where these screws are, but also by looking in the comments from Amazon sellers or Amazon comments. So I'll put a link to this in the description. To attach this, you need to kind of pry off the glue. You can actually see the glue residue. Pry off the little rubber bumpers. And then there's kind of like, let's see if I can get one of these off. Yeah, there's like a little plastic tab that sits in there and it's got like a little hook, and then these just kind of slide out. So you need to get all of these off, and then these will go back in. Okay, so here we go. All four of these are pulled out, and then these little plastic tabs are put back in. The screws that it comes with, the screws that were holding these in originally are too short. You probably can't see this, but they're in a bag here. There's differing opinions in the comments. So a lot of people say you have to buy screws, but mine actually came with screws of a couple different lengths. You can see how long those are. And so this just screws on in the holes that were there. I can't tell you the size of these screws because this came with it, but once you have this kind of undone, once you have these tabs out and the rubber foot's off, you just screw this back in. So again, I'll do that off camera. Okay, and then the bracket comes with this, which is obviously going to hook onto your windshield. It's really actually quite easy to just slide this off the existing mount. You want to pay some attention to the type of mounting bracket. My understanding is that different models and manufacturers might use different ones, but the website that I bought this, or rather the company, was pretty good about explaining what would happen. But one thing I didn't realize until I got this back is that if you compare to the one it came with, there's this kink in the OEM mirror. And so I poked around their website, and they, in fact, make one that they say is for Toyotas. And you'll notice the difference between these two. Here, I'll put them down. Look, it is going to be necessary. Now, it's the same company, so luckily it fits everything just fine. And then you just screw it down. You're ready to go put this on the car. Here we are in the car. The original mirror is off, and there's just a little bracket, and this literally just slides on. It's just that easy. So that slides on, and then there's just a little screw here. Can't really film it, but there's a little screw to just get it tightened up against the bracket. Good. And the problem I was having before, because this is already mirrored, is that if I'm sitting, this is roughly what I can see, is that I couldn't actually move it well enough to be able to use it as a mirror when the screen is off. But with this new bracket, again, this is just for Toyotas and maybe even just for Gen 3 Toyota Prius. So, obviously pay attention to your car. Most of the install videos I've seen on YouTube, arm that comes with the bracket is perfectly fine, but that didn't work for my Toyota. I could only get it to like here, which means that it would have been fine if the screen was on, but if the screen wasn't working, I wouldn't have had the mirror. All right, so here it is with the camera and the GPS attached. These cables are kind of here, and you need to put them somewhere. So in keeping with my idea of keeping things clean, I'm going to use this little pry tool that it came with, and I'm going to try to route both of these up into the headliner here and sort of down the A-frame panel towards the passenger side. That will keep everything nice and clean. Pretty easy to just kind of put it behind the headliner. Here, this is the video and the GPS cable. I pulled off this cover for I believe this is called A-frame or something like that. I want to be pretty careful. There's an airbag back there. I don't know how good of an idea this is. So this is, you know, at your own risk. So I've got the video camera cable kind of coming back, and I haven't tucked it any further. And then the GPS goes down, and there's the GPS unit on the dash. And then a lot of this stuff just comes out with a little clip. So that's looking pretty clean in my estimation. So I'm just going to keep routing the video cable kind of through the headliner. Same thing that I just did with the airbag, but pull off that little bit of plastic trim and just work my way to the back of the car. Okay, so again, coming through the back, you can literally just pry these little plastic covers off. In the headliner, pried this one off. Again, there's an airbag back here, so you want to be careful. Routed it up through here, and now you can see here's the video cable coming out of the headliner at the very back of the car. What I want to try to do is get it into one of these existing cable things so that it's, again, I want this to be a clean install. If I'm living in here, I really don't want cables laying out and sticking out of the work. So I'm going to do some rooting around, see if I can't get in. Should be possible if I'm just prying through here. I can see where these things go in. And then all of this plastic should also just pry off. Yeah, so there you go. So let's see if I can get in there. Cool lens flare. All right, so here's what I ended up doing. Going through this little one just because it seemed to just kind of pull out pretty easily. Done my best to kind of jam it back in. There was no way I was getting this wire through it. I really tried to make sure that the rubber seals were as close to sealed as possible. So you can just kind of go under the headliner. Again, this is a Gen 3 Prius. This one is a bit easy because there's these little bits of rubber hanging down that can help you kind of pull it and get the gasket seated again. And now we are actually into the hatchback itself. I'll get some zip ties on that. Okay, so here's the video cable. I've just got a few zip ties. And I pulled off this bit of trim, and I'm working my way towards the license plate lights. And if you didn't know, I figured I would show this. These little tabs are how most trim pieces are held onto your car. You literally just like brute force them, like pull it, and they pop out. Okay, and to attach the camera, here's where one of the license plate lights go. As you can see, I've got it just on screws, and I managed to, there's two little tabs on either side. So I've got the little bracket loose. That little sliver of light you can see is actually a space to the outside. If we come look at what it looks like on the outside, you can see that I've got it loose. So I'm going to attach camera right above the license plate. The good news is that this piece of trim in the Gen 3 Prius is plastic. So I'm not too stressed about screwing into it. So I'm going to both use the sticky that it came with as well as some screws. All right, and there is the final product. You can see the camera is screwed on. I had to drill some little pilot holes and then get some kind of self-tapping, like almost metal screws. But right there is the license plate light, and you can see the cable coming down and out, and it's all nice and clean, and the wires are completely hidden behind all of the trim. And this is in a nice sort of rear-facing position. So yeah, with the GPS and the camera installed, we can get to work on getting this thing powered with the hardwired power system that I got. Okay, to figure out how to do this hardwire, I mean, I'm going to show you what you can do on a Gen 3 Prius. Mine's a 2010, just in case there are differences. You're going to want a multimeter. I'm underneath, don't judge how dirty my car is, but I'm underneath, there's 2 fuse panels in a lot of cars. So there's one under here. I've already taken the cover off. What you're gonna need to do is, so the multimeter has the 2 connectors. Um, if I You just need to find somewhere that is bare, uncoated metal. There's a spot here, there's a spot back there, there's a spot there. And you can touch the black to that. And then with the fuses in, you can actually touch the red. It's not gonna be very easy to film, but there's actually exposed metal in 2 spots on the top of a fuse, like right there and then on the other side. All right, so I managed to do it with one hand. I've got the black touching bare metal. I've got the red touching the metal part of the fuse. And if we come down to the multimeter, we can see that this is powered when the car is off. On the 2010 Prius, right? So this is the one in the middle, right below those two 7.5 amp fuses. On the 2010 Prius, as far as I can tell, that is literally the only one that's powered when the car is off. Any of these other 10s will do just fine for the unpowered one, or rather the one that's powered when the car is off. And I have tested it, so I'm going to use this top one. So if you're following along, you can use this as the one that's only powered when the car is on, and you can use this as the one that's powered when the car is off. If you have a different car, you'll just have to go through and test it. So you test when the car is off, like I just showed you. We found that this one is powered when the car is off. Then you turn the car on and you find out which ones are powered when the car is on. And frankly, it should be most of them. Okay, so this kit comes um, with these a bunch of different size fuse. So whatever the size of your fuse, it comes with all 4 sizes. So this is the one for the Prius. It's kind of the middle size. So I've pulled the uh, the fuse with power, and I'm just going to insert it in that spot. That 5 amp fuse came installed with this kit. So this is the 10 amp fuse that I pulled. That's powered when the car is off. This is going to go in the spot where it was, and you're still going to have that fuse, and then this 5 amp fuse protects the circuit for the camera. And we'll do that for both of them. Power when it's on, power when it's off. And this is how the camera knows how to go into park mode. So I'm not going to film this. I'll show you what it looks like after I get them plugged in. All right, so here it is. Like I said, in the top one, this is the ACC, the accessory line that's only powered when the car is on. This is the one in the 2010 Prius that was powered when the car is off. And then I've got the ground wire just attached right here. I think you could probably attach it anywhere where you can see bare metal, but this was closest, right here. If we take a look, I bought this sort of advanced one just because I wanted to just be able to monitor the battery. It has a switch on the side, so you can kind of set, like, when does it shut off. And all we need to do is route the rest of this cable up through the A-pillar into the headliner and to the dash cam. And so the car is off right now, but this is still powered. All right, so here it is. Obviously, the cover's not going to fit on anymore. I zip tied it around this little plastic kind of bracket just to keep the wires careful. I tucked most of the rest of the wires in behind this thing. I used double-sided tape and some bolts. I just had this wire kind of behind the screw on the other side, so it's kind of behind this just to keep everything a little bit more neat. And again, I did buy this upgraded one. There'll be a link in the description, but this actually keeps track of the voltage. I felt like this would be a useful thing just to kind of know the voltage. It does have voltage protection. So I've got this set to turn off if it goes below 12 volts. But I do think having this little display is just a little bit of peace of mind. And so if we come up, I still need to get some zip ties just to clean this up a little bit, but you can see I accidentally touched that. And this is different than when it's in driving mode. It's yellow here, and you can see it's up to almost 16 minutes. So I think this is the time lapse. So I think it shoots for, my understanding is I think it shoots for 30 minutes and then it gets compressed when it's done. And yeah, it turns off. So it doesn't just sit on all the time, but you can still interact with it in park mode. So again, as a form of sort of like security for van life, car life, right? You could always take a look at. Obviously, if you have something in your windshield, you won't be able to see, but you'll be able to. My camera's on the outside, so at least I'll be able to see out the back when the car's all buttoned up at night. So yeah, just the last thing to do, I guess, is just get a maybe zip tie here, clean this up a little bit. Really annoyed that actually there's no way. I wish this was a little spaced differently. It would be really nice if all the cables could just point in the same direction. I think it would make this a lot cleaner, but it is what it is. This definitely feels better than how it felt before. All right. Well, thanks for watching. There's the backup camera install. It's pretty straightforward. Depending on how clean you want this to be, it can be extremely straightforward. What I tried to do was sort of with the rest of my build aesthetic. I wanted it to be extremely clean. I didn't want to have like a US or I didn't want to have like the 12-volt car lighter plug. I wanted everything to be hardwired. I wanted all the stuff to be hidden, and I wanted it to be clean, clean install. So, if you made it this far, as always, thanks for watching. Definitely consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting, all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next video.